And welcome to another episode of the Tar Heels Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Grant Chachere, bringing you all the latest news in regards to your Tar Heels. Of course, I'm also the lead beat writer for North Carolina Tar Heels on SI. And, this video starts the new week, of course, last week we know that North Carolina lost against Cal in heartbreaking fashion, 21-18. And this week you got Virginia, which is another edition. I believe is the 130th meeting between Virginia and North Carolina in the South's oldest rivalry. And on top of that, you got basketball. We'll be playing BYU on Friday, so this could be a huge content week for us over here at Tar Heels on SI. But first, I want to start off the week with two podcast episodes. Of course, I'm creating for today. Of course, I mentioned this in the podcast yesterday. If you haven't seen it, is that I was going to do a offense midseason report and a defense midseason report, right? And first, we're going to go with the offense, and the offense has not been great. Just to put out bluntly. They're in the 120s in literally almost every single important offense category. They're 131st in total offense. They're in the 120s on third down and third down. They're in the 120s. I believe they're like 121st in passing offense. I mean, they're in the 120s in almost every single offensive category of importance. And quite frankly, it's really sad. Like, rushing offense, they are 123rd. Passing offense are 121st. Just a reminder that there was 136 teams that played at the FBS level, 130, and technically, according to NCAA, there's 134 because remember, Missouri State and Delaware joined the FBS level this season. So out of 134 teams, North Carolina is in the 120s in total offense, passing offense, rushing offense, and, of course, third down conversions. It's just not a very good look for the offense. They're averaging 267 yards of total offense per game. I mean, they've only in the six games they played this year, only two they got to above 300. They haven't even hit the 400-yard mark this season. I mean, they've been putrid on the offensive side of the ball, just absolutely putrid. And of course, you got to start with the quarterback play. And I understand that Gio Lopez has. Let's be honest. He's been hurt, right? He acknowledged. I mean, well, there's reports that he got injured in a car accident a few days before the TCU game. He even acknowledged it during his post-game press conference against Cal. And he really has been battling injuries all year. He got injured in the game against TCU. He got injured in the game against UCF. He did not play in the Clemson game because he was injured. Max Johnson played. So he really, he's been injured. However, he hasn't played great either when he's been in the game. He's completed 59.8% of his passes for nearly 600 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. He individually is one of the worst, statistically one of the worst passing quarterbacks in the country. That's just the way it is. I mean, he's 112th in passing yards per game, averaging 119.4 yards per game. And like, he's a great kid and all that type of stuff, but he hasn't really been performing well. Now, I'll say this. He did play relatively well against Cal. He had 167 yards, 164 passing yards. He was 19 of 35, which is about 57%. But he didn't throw a touchdown. However, he did look healthier. He threw a little more zip. He wasn't afraid to throw entire coverage. Just the only criticism I have is that, he's still locking onto one receiver. He's got to go through his reads and progressions more. And really, his stats going to be even higher if, there's 5 drops by UNC's receivers tonight. I mean, not tonight, but on Friday night. I mean, it was not a very good performance by UNC's receiving core. outside of Kobe Paysour. And really he also would have had a touchdown if Nathan Leacock doesn't fumble it before he got in the end zone against Cal, which ultimately may have been the game-winning touchdown for UNC with under 4 minutes to go in the game. So he did improve. It looked like he improved, but we'll see how he performs against Virginia. And I think that would be a true litmus test to see if this team is improved, because Bill Belichick said this team is improved. But who knows? We'll see against Virginia. I mean, Max Johnson, of course, has played all right. Completed 63.9% of his passes for 378 yards and 2 touchdowns. He played in one full game this year where he was able to complete 26 of his 42 passes for 216 yards. It was also the only time the Tar Heels have thrown for over 200 yards in a game. However, it took 42 tries to get there. So it's not like Max Johnson. There's a much difference between Max Johnson and Gio Lopez. I mean, if there was a game where they could separate each other, it would have been that game. But even though I still believe Max may be the better fit for this offense, he really didn't separate himself against Clemson. I think that was the biggest determining factor in why Gio Lopez was starting quarterback against Cal. And really, he didn't play that bad. But Gio might not be the guy you want if you want to win multiple games. And quite frankly, I don't even think if Max is in the game, I don't think that solves the problem, because there's way bigger problems than the quarterback position. Running the ball, Damon June has been great, but although most of his yards came in the game against Richmond, it really has nothing to show for it recently. And I think that's just because he really, the running back rotation is kind of junky, just in terms of how they distribute the carries. Benjamin Hall, 34 carries for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. I mean, he had a great game against Cal, and really may have had the best run of the season when he scored on his 18-yard touchdown against Cal, where he broke a couple of tackles and ran over another to get in the end zone. So it was arguably one of the best runs of the year. And then Davion Goss, 75 yard, 23 carries for 75 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has been underwhelming this year as well. But how much of that is because the offensive line has really been inconsistent. So I think that's another thing you got to look at is, really just how inconsistent this offense, the offensive line has been. In terms of receivers, Jordan Shipp is at 22 catches for 253 yards and 2 touchdowns. He arguably has been your best receiver all year. Probably arguably most talented receiver all year. But then again, with the way the passing offense has worked out, he really hasn't had nothing to show for it because the issues that the offense has, whether it's protecting the quarterback or the quarterback being enough to to throw the ball to him. And also the play calling has been putrid as well. I mean, Freddie Kitchens, my God, he really has been that great of a play caller this year. And I think he will get the chopping block at the end of the year. I mean, you're 131st in total offense in the country, and you're last in the ACC. So he's going to get the chopping block for sure. How Kobe Paysour has really emerged, 8 catches for 119 yards and a touchdown. And really 101 of those yards came in the last game. So, he should have got the ball more. He's your returning leading receiver from last year. The fact that they finally figured out, let's throw the ball to Kobe Paysour, the fact that never went across their minds is mind-boggling, which shows you the ineptitude of this offensive staff. And then Shinar Clovers had some nice moments, 11 catches for 91 yards. Jake Johnson, 10 catches for 80 yards and a touchdown. Javarius Green, he's had 8 catches for 110 yards. And that's the thing too. Besides Jordan, even Jordan Shipp, it's a different guy each game, but not in the great way. Like Jordan Shipp should be your top receiver, should be number 1 and number 2 in almost every single game. And he really has been. I think that's a lot to do with the offensive play calling, right? Not so much Jordan Shipp himself. Same thing with Kobe Paysour. Kobe Paysour really had a breakout game, but before that, we'd never seen him before. It's probably because of the rotation. Shinar Clower, it's I don't know what they're trying to do. I'm not sure. It's play calling. It's how they rotate the receivers. It does, and the way they do things offensively doesn't allow for consistency. And I think that's why you've seen UNC struggle so much offensively. I mean, if I had to give a grade for this offense, it'll be an F. It's an F. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're the worst Power 4 offense in the country by far. They're in the 120s in total offense, passing offense, rushing deep offense, and third down conversions. This is a terrible offense. And it's a multitude of things. It's, inconsistent play at quarterback. It's just a consistent play at the offensive line. Your running backs outside Damon June and Ben Hall, really haven't been that great. The play calling has been putrid. Freddie Kitchens has done a putrid job as an offensive play caller. And if Cal also didn't have an inept play caller as well, I mean, North Carolina probably would have lost the game by 2 touchdowns. Cal helped out UNC's offense a whole lot in that game. They were basically giving the game to UNC, and they couldn't get it done. And because you fumbled it before you got in the end zone, and what potentially could have been the game-winning touchdown. And I'm not blaming Nathan Leacock for how they lost. There was multiple opportunities for North Carolina to win that game. And I don't want to pile on Nathan Leacock. Don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming him, right? But just Nathan Leacock's fumble just kind of symbolizes everything that is wrong with this offense, and it's just inept. Like, once you do something right, something wrong happens. Again, it's just how it is. I mean, I give this offense an F. I mean, the only good players on this offense consistently have been really Jordan Shipp. Chad Lindbergh has gotten better over the course of the year. He's been pretty consistent. That's it. I mean, Damon June hasn't been a factor the last 2 games. I was going to say him. It looked like it was going to be him, but he really hasn't been a factor. They need to find consistency in this offense, because if they don't find consistency in this offense, it's going to be a long season. Like, I don't know if they can win another AC game. I still think they can win. They can steal 1 or 2. But right now, it's not looking good. And they need this offense to improve if they want to continue to win more games. However, game against Cal did show some improvements. How much? I have no idea. We'll find out this weekend. But thanks so much for watching this episode of the Tar Heels Insider Podcast. I'm your host, Grant Chachere, the lead beat writer for North Carolina Tar Heels on SI, and I'll see you guys later.